Hello, on this occasion, me and my partners are going to present this topic. We are going to talk about this process called turning. Team members are Valeria Dominguez, Gerardo Mesa, and me, Jesus Ramirez. So, first of all, to understand a little of this type of machining, let's talk about the definition and how it works, this process. So, what is turning? Turning is a form of machining, a material removal process which is used to create rotational parts by cutting away unwanted material. The turning process requires a turning machine or lathe, workpiece, fixture, and cutting tool. The workpiece is a piece of pre-shaped material that is secured to the fixture, which itself is attached to the turning machine and allowed to rotate at high speeds. The cutter is typically a single-point cutting tool that is also secure in the machine, although some operations make use of multi-point tools. The cutting tool fits into the rotating workpiece and cuts away material in form of small chips to create the desired shape. So, as we can see in the image below on the left, we have the workpiece and the cutting tool. And in this case, the piece is rotating while the tool is removing material and leaving a new surface exposed. We can see that in the animation where the cutting tool passes over the piece and removes material. Also, we can see in this process, the speed motion is provided by the rotating work part and the feed motion is achieved by the cutting tool. So basically, it's a material in cylindrical shape or form that rotates at high speed and a pointed tool that removes material when it touches the surface of the workpiece. Well, now we have the advantages and disadvantages of this process. So the first advantage we can find in this turning process is that all materials are compatible. Another advantage that we can find is that it has a very good tolerance, short lead time, no high skill operator required, and the material removal rate is flexible. So talking about the first point, in the first image we can see the wood turning process. This is to help us to understand that we can work with many materials. Maybe if you think about turning, the first thing that comes to mind is that you can only work with metals, but it's not like that. Some examples of materials that we can use are carbon steel, copper, stainless steel, aluminum, magnesium, and other materials like lead, nickel, ceramics, titanium, thermoplastics, and thermosets. So we can work with a wide range of materials. And now let's see the disadvantages of turning process. Limited to rotational parts, part may require several operations and machines, high equipment cost, significant tool wear, and a large amount of scrap. So in the image we can see the waste when we are working a piece. This is a disadvantage that generates problems, but well, it's a disadvantage of all machining processes. And now we are going to see the parts that we can make with this process. So the parts made with this process are important in industrial, automotive, machinery, telecommunications, and another electrical and electronic components. For some examples are threaded rods, dumbbells, bushings, shafts, screws, pins. There are a lot of examples. So as we can see in the images, here we have some pieces that we can do with this process, with the machine, with this machining process. So it's very useful to make all kinds of pieces.
My name is Valeria and I am going to talk to you about the personal safety equipment for the turning process. The personal safety equipment is a thing whose main objective is to prevent accidents that could alter the health of workers in the performance of any work activity. So some recommendations to prevent risks in this process are safety glasses must be worn at all times the work area. Long and loose hair must be contained. Study for work must be worn at all times in work area. Cold fitting or protective clothing must be deteriorated. Gold may not be worn when using this machine. Rings and jewelry must not be deteriorated. Now, main part of the machine, there are six measures of a machine. There are the belt, the head stock assembly, the main expander, the tail stock, the carry, and overload safety device. So, the foundation of the lathe machine with various operational parts of the body or mount is called the belt. The whole stock assembly, its main function is to provide rotational power for the lathe machine. The main expander is allow rapid and mounted removal of fixtures and also facilitate access on secure positioning. The tail stock is support the other end of the row of figure when being machined. The coil is mainly responsible for providing three movement to the tool: longitudinal feed, curved feed, and angular feed. Overall surface device, the part preventing made for the overloading of import. Now let's move on to the different classification of the process. As you may have realized, unlaid machine consists of many different parts that go together. These lathe machine parts allow the equipment to perform a variety of operations of the workpiece to produce the desired part, like facing, tempering, boring, taper turning, contour turning, patting off, forming, dredging, threading, and knurling. These operations can be classified as external or internal. Outside factor change the outside diameter of the workpiece, while inside factor change the inside diameter. Each of these operations is defined by the type of cutter.
Could be quality problems in the process. One of the problems that arise in the turning process can be observed directly in the finish of the pieces that many times appear irregularly. This is sometimes the surface finish differs in the different areas of the machined surface. The factors that can cause such a problems vary. Some error in the process parameters is usually the main cause of the problem. Within the company, the advances, current speed, and spindle turning speed are determined by the lathe operator without consulting any bibliography. The turning cutting process generates friction, which in turn generates heat. So a cooling lubricant must be used to reduce wear on the cutting tool, to improve the quality of the machine surface, and to reduce energy cost. The choice of coolant for turning jobs is often not the right one, which causes main of the problems. Also, when the company receives a request for machining part, sometimes there is no drawing for it, which make it difficult to carry out the machining process. As there are no plans, it's difficult to define the characteristics that the part to be manufactured must have. The condition of the machinery can cause problems in the turning process. On some occasions, the work area is in disorder and accidents can occur. The arrangements of the necessary tools, devices, and the technical documentation is not well defined. The dust, the lubrication of the lead screw may not be adequate. The preservation of the bed guides may be affected, and the parts, instruments, and objects have been found on the machinery that could result in injury to personnel or the machine. Okay, let's talk about the quality expectation of the final product. And first, we have the characteristics of the turning process and types of parts. One of these are the machining operation for parts of revolution. The advantages of the process. We have high precision and good surface finish. Also, we apply to pieces of some sizes and production, from unitary pieces to long series. Different materials, limitation of very hard materials. Some limitation of the process are they are expensive process, and we have limited parts of revolution. And also, as some history, before the Industrial Revolution, this type of process was done by hand in wood, wrought iron, or ceramic workshops, among others, were not known as machining. Today, machining is generally used as a metal cutting techniques, which we have undergone a great evolution from traditional lathes to the so-called metal control machines. Tools that we have today are capable of performing complex cutting operations by means of running programs, and also that is very helpful for the industry nowadays. Okay, now we have here the importance for the social development in the community. This also is an important thing to talk. In a fairly summarized way, the turning process is a method used to turn, create, shape, even repair different metal parts that make up a machine. And also talking about the person who dedicate to this, the turners, that are the professionals in charge of the turnery, are dedicated to the work of creating, turning and molding the pieces. It takes the strength of a metal smith and the precision of a surgeon. That is why a professional that will always be in constant demand given the enormous need for parts in a daily life. Nowadays, there are so many mechanical gadgets that the turnery has to be subdivided to compensate the enormous demand of the market. Why is important the turnery? I think leading roles of the different areas that make up the turnery are immense. Each piece that is created, molded, or copied serves for the proper functioning of a machine. In an industrialized world, they become increasingly important both in the process and in the people who develop it. They become increasingly important both in the process and in the people that the number of, but despite the enormous demand and the enormous importance of turners, the number of professionals who dedicate themselves to this trade is decreasing. This is due to some factors such as jobs change and the advancement of the importance of engineering compared to the trades and better salaries in other sectors also of the market among others. Despite that, the fact of turnery is important for the maintenance and creation of different objects of daily life. The fact that many turners are changing from this trade is already a worrying reality. It's a sector within heavy industry that is easy to miss, with enormous consequence if it were to be abandoned. The reactivation of the sector by companies within our territory, the main motivation for the turners to leave the machining workshop is enormous consumption of time within it. This make it possible to spend time on vacation or with the family. This is why companies have begun to reconsider the role of turners in workshops. They have facilitated better salaries, more competitiveness, better preparation and promotion within them. In this way, in the turner branch that was decreasing in Mexico at the beginning of 2020 and rose again in 2017. Okay, and as a last question, that is important to think in that also. Is feasible to start a little workshop of that kind of technology and start providing that service and earn money with that? Okay, first, in our country, this type of work is very important, giving us job opportunities anywhere, but not in every corner. Also, you don't have the same opportunity to succeed. You must have something to know someone who has a workshop, for example, of this type, and more to if it's a close person that give you the job, for example, or near to the place that you live. Without a doubt, it's a very good offer to have a workshop of this style, thus supporting your local economy. I consider that your opportunity to get ahead is in your location and is in the final quality that is given to the client. I think the quality at the end is that the thing that gives us if the person come back to your workshop. And also you need to start with the basic materials to start your workshop, and also have a good location and have the personnel with the capacities to work with you, and the materials. I think are the things that are important.